How you doing, everybody? My name is Dr. Sami Baya. Please welcome back to my YouTube channel. You left your toxic ex and now they're desperate without you. That's the title of this video. Leaving a toxic ex is never easy. But when you finally take that step, it's often because you've realized that staying in that relationship was doing more harm than good. Your ex may have been manipulative, controlling, or emotionally abusive. But now that you've freed yourself from that, things are starting to look brighter. It is natural to feel conflicted at first, but as the days go by, you begin to understand the depth of the damage that relationship caused. You've started to regain your sense of self-worth, peace, and happiness. Your ex, however, is now left with the wreckage of their own behavior, and it is becoming painfully obvious that they're struggling without you. At first, they may have tried to convince you that they could change or that things will be different. They might have pleaded, apologized, and even promised to work on themselves. But you knew deep down that their words were hollow. You couldn't be swayed by the empty promises anymore. You had given enough chances, and their behavior showed no sign of improvement. As time passed, their desperation became more apparent. They reached out again and again, seeking your attention, playing on your emotions, and trying to manipulate you back into their grasp. What they fail to realize is that their desperation is a reflection of their own insecurity. They are no longer in control and they can't handle the loss of that power. Toxic people thrive on controlling others, and when that control slips away, they become like fish out of water, flailing and struggling to regain what they've lost. Their inability to cope with the situation without you only reinforces that leaving them was the right choice. You were never meant to be their emotional crutch or their source of validation. And now they're forced to face the truth without your presence to shield them. The constant contact, whether through texts, calls, or social media, might seem like a sign that they miss you. But it is not really about you. It is about their need for validation and control. They want to see if they can still make you feel guilty, manipulate you into feeling responsible for their well-being, or somehow get you back into the toxic dynamic. But you've moved on, and the strength you've gained from leaving is becoming more apparent with each passing day. They might not be able to understand this new version of you, the one who is independent, confident, and no longer reliant on their toxic behavior for a sense of self-worth. It is clear now that their desperation stems from a fear of being alone. They never truly learned how to function without someone to manipulate, someone to depend on emotionally. Now that you've cut ties, they're left to grapple with their own emotions, and it is unsettling for them. The reality of the situation is that they had been using you as a distraction from their own issues, whether those were emotional, psychological, or just a lack of self-awareness. Without you, they must confront the fact that they were never truly fulfilled in the relationship, because their fulfillment depended entirely on keeping you under their thumb. However, their desperation might not be entirely about trying to get back with you. It might also be about preserving their image. Many toxic people are incredibly concerned with how they're perceived by others. And now that they no longer have you to help maintain that image, they may feel exposed or vulnerable. Your absence removes the mask they've been wearing, and they might be scrambling to cover up the cracks. The people around them may start to notice their manipulative tendencies, and they can no longer rely on you to smooth things over, shield them from criticism, or deflect blame. At the same time, the desperation could also be about a fear of losing their emotional support. They are used to having you there to turn to validate their emotions, to comfort them when they are feeling low. Now, without that outlet, they are left with a void, and they don't know how to feel it. It's a harsh realization for them to face, and one that they will struggle with for some time. Their inability to cope without you is a clear indication that they were never truly invested in your well-being. They were only invested in what you could provide from that you could provide them emotionally. While they may try to make you feel guilty for leaving, you understand now that the best thing you could have done for both of you was to walk away. Your ex was never capable of offering you the love, respect, or support that you deserve. They were always focused on their own needs, while your needs were consistently ignored or dismissed. Now that they are on their own, their desperation is a result of their own actions catching up with them. They may try to act like they are moving on or that they are doing fine, but you can see through the facade. You've begun to realize how much better your life has been since you left. Your days are no longer filled with anxiety or wondering what mood your ex will be in. You no longer have to tiptoe around their emotions or wonder when the next outburst will occur. You've reclaimed your time, your space, and most importantly, your peace. Your ex, on the other hand, is still stuck in the cycle of chaos and confusion. They may have been the one to act like they were in control during the relationship. But now that you're gone, it is clear that they were never truly in control of anything. Their desperation may also take the form of self-blame. They might try to convince themselves that they can change, but deep down, they know that their behavior is the reason things ended. The harder they try to manipulate you back into their life, the more they expose their own flaws. They know they've lost someone who was genuinely good to them, and they might spend their days rethinking their actions, but it may be too late for them to change. They've burned bridges, and now they have to face the consequences. As time goes on, their attempts to manipulate you might become less frequent, but they'll still try. The more they struggle, the more apparent it becomes that they are not okay. They might show up unexpectedly at places you frequent, text you late at night, or even try to engage with your friends or family in an attempt to get information about you. But you've learned to set boundaries, and each time they cross them, it strengthens your resolve to remain firm in your decision to leave. Their desperation might even cause them to spiral, becoming more bitter or hostile. They might lash out, accuse you of being heartless or selfish, or blame you for ruining their life. But these outbursts only reflect their inability to deal with their emotions in a healthy way. They cannot accept responsibility for their actions, and instead they project their feelings of loss and regret onto you. However, you know better than to take the blame for their emotional turmoil. Their actions created the distance between you, not anything you did. You might even feel a sense of relief as they continue to flounder, because it serves as confirmation that leaving was the right decision. As their desperation becomes more apparent, you can see how unhealthy and toxic the dynamic truly was. It's a painful thing to accept, but you've come to understand that some people will never change until they're willing to do the work on themselves. You can't be their therapist or savior, and you're not obligated to stay in a relationship that drags you down. As they continue to struggle without you, you may also notice that the distance between you becomes clearer. The emotional state might fluctuate wildly, but you no longer have the responsibility to pick up the pieces. Their desperation might even serve as a constant reminder that the person you once were, someone who tolerated their toxic behavior, is no longer someone you recognize. You've grown stronger, and their inability to deal with the consequences of their actions is a direct result of their own failure to change. In the end, their desperation will be their burden to carry, not yours. You've freed yourself from the chains of that toxic relationship, and you're on a path of healing and self-discovery. They may try to manipulate you, guilt-trip you, or make you feel responsible for their pain. But you've learned the hard truth. You're not responsible for anyone else's happiness, but your own. Their desperate attempts to draw you back are a reflection of their own weaknesses. And you're no longer willing to sacrifice your peace for someone who can't give you the love and respect you deserve. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you've learned a thing or two. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've not done so. Thank you.